mentor apparently forgot that I had my talk today, so. Oh, there she is.
Yay. See, told you.
So, how many times have you been sitting there in class and thought, I can't do this. I don't understand this. What's the point of this? I'm never going to be good at this. I'm not a natural. Why should I even bother trying? And did you do well in that class? Probably not, because you didn't have the right attitude. Which is what I'm going to talk about for you today. Attitude. Mostly related to like school stuff, because if I talk about attitude in general, we could be here for 30 years. But so also I'm Casey, and that's my mom, if any of you are in the anatomy, so sorry. Alright, so, but a lot of kids don't like school. Like, raise your hand if you don't like your math class, your science class, school in general. Yeah. And a lot of people who don't like it, they might not necessarily try. We do the bare minimum, just enough to get by. Sometimes we don't do anything at all. Like we skip school, we forget to do our homework. And that shows. There was an international study done called the Program for International Student Assessment. So they sat down a bunch of 15-year-olds in 2015 and they had them do tests on their science, math, and reading literacy. And we're there, right? A little bit better than average. We're like C+, maybe. But those other countries, so there were 71 countries, and in math, we placed 38th, and science, 24th. But what did those other countries do that we didn't? They had a better attitude. The kids there are more invested in their education, their schooling. They try more. They have different attitudes in different countries. Like if you go over to China and Korea, their attitude is a lot of, it's important, so do it all day, every day, all the time. Anytime that they're not in school, they're in like a private tutor. In Korea, it's so bad, the government had to put a curfew on tutoring. Like imagine that, the government having to tell you to stop studying. That's like unthinkable here. But then there's also countries like Finland, and they're a lot more laid back with their attitude towards education. It's a lot more teach the student for the sake of learning things. And that works just as well. And they end up at the top, the best. And that doesn't apply just internationally, even within a classroom. So for part of my project, I went to the science recovery, the competency recovery camp over the summer, and I helped out at the science week. And there were kids there because they didn't get it the first time. Some of them were the kids who didn't try. They did the bare minimum. They didn't do enough. They just didn't learn it because they didn't put any effort in because they thought it was pointless. And some of them, they did try and they just couldn't get it the first time around for whatever reason, or they missed something because they were out sick for like 3 months. And those kids, nobody wanted to be there because let's be honest, who wants to spend their summer doing more school stuff? Not me. But they had different attitudes of how they approached it too. There were the kids who, they really didn't want to be there. They didn't want to do the work, so they didn't. They just kind of sat there, pretended they were working, just pulled some stuff off of Wikipedia, stuck it down, hoped for the best. And it wasn't good. They had to keep doing it to get a good result because they didn't care. They weren't putting in effort, so they weren't getting a good result. But then there were the kids who wanted to do well. They wanted to actually learn it. So they tried. They got it the first or second time around. They had good results, and they got to leave because they finished it. They wanted to do well, and they did. But it's not just kids who have an attitude, right? Parents have an attitude too. Some parents will say, oh, you're not good at math, that's okay. I was never good at math, you don't have to be. And then you're not, because you think, it's impossible, I can't do this. My parents are telling me, if you're not good at something from the start, you just can't do it. But we don't say that with music. They don't say, oh, well, you didn't play Mozart's Fifth on the piano on your first go, you'll never get it. We didn't put Men on the Moon by saying, oh, I don't get math, it's impossible. We did it by saying, who cares, let's do it anyway. We had a can-do attitude. And there are parents like that too. Parents who say, well, you can do this. I believe you can do this. I couldn't do this, but you can. And those kids of those parents tend to go on and actually do that. They do well because they think they can do well. It sounds cheesy, but if you think you can do something, you probably can. Your attitude going in affects what comes out. And on a slightly tangential note to that, that even affects picture day. I hate having my picture taken, my brother hates having his picture taken, and you can tell. We go in there with the attitude of, this is stupid, I hate this, I don't want to be here, and it shows in our pictures. I don't think my brother smiled in a picture since first grade, and most of my pictures you can tell that I'm smiling really fakely. So just remember, your attitude matters.
Nice job. Yeah, it's great.